Hey guys, Veebat here with another V-Plays, taking a look at some, well, relatively random gameplay. I hopped into a match. This is the first battle of the day, and I decided to go with the XF-85. Haven't played in a little while, wanted to see what she could do, and I'm trying to train up some other pilots to get their 9th skill point, and I find myself in this match. Now, the thing I don't like about this matchup is that I am facing a Tier 9 ground attacker, and I'm the only other player on the opposite team. So being a high altitude fighter fighting against a ground attacker, it's really going to be a race. It's essentially who can get to each one of these cap zones and try and flip them as fast as possible, but I'm never going to be able to keep up with a tier 9 ground attacker, even if it is German. The issue I have is that if I get down there and start fighting with him, I'm going to be outside of my envelope for what this aircraft is meant to do. I should be at altitude, working my advantage of speed and, whoop, nicked me there, and relative maneuverability to be able to control the high altitude fight, because as soon as I get down to low altitude, I'm going to lose all of that maneuverability, and I'm going to get schwacked by the counterparts that are able to outturn me down there. In addition to that, I just don't have the overwhelming gun power with these 450 cal machine guns to be able to take out a ground attacker that quickly, and his tail gunner will chew this very little and light aircraft apart. So I go after the nearest capture zone. Now that we've captured this, I am going to head to the middle and fight over the airfield, because I'm a fighter. That's where I really should be, and I would like to try and gain and maintain this for as long as I can, because this is going to be one of the only capture zones that actually offers some type of a benefit. All the other ones are going to be garrisons, so yeah, they'll give me some tickers, some points on the ticker, but meanwhile the airfield will allow my friendlies to be able to heal off of it as long as the repair site hasn't been destroyed, and it will also allow my teammates to spawn here. So we've already come in, we've eliminated one aircraft, we're isolating targets and taking them out one by one, making sure that we're getting into unfair engagements. I'm watching my radar, noting that no aircraft is behind me. Yes, I could break off from this MiG-9, but I don't want to leave him here, because as soon as I turn, he'll start engaging me. Now here's this P-228. He makes a boom and zoom pass on me, but I am a very fast, and since he is maintaining altitude and not diving to get airspeed, I figure I can put some damage onto him, and even here he is going to start diving, but I got a really powerful boost because this light airframe accelerates very quickly, and I am able to maintain follow. Look at this, we're already up at 550 miles an hour, and I still have boost to spare. You gotta love this XF-85. It really is a demon when you're playing this game. Being wary of my ally that's next to me, trying to maintain relative spacing so that way we don't clip each other, and now I am climbing back up to where I should be. I immediately angle the nose up, I hammer down the boost, and I start accelerating to higher altitude as fast as possible, but I do note that there is a heavy coming in here that seems to be unaware of my follow, so I decide that I'm going to try and take advantage, but I do note that there is an aircraft directly behind me. So I break off from this engagement and try to get into an advantageous position against this aircraft, but it looks like the attacker has knocked out my control surface, so I'm going to have a tough time getting around on him, despite the fact that I am a more maneuverable platform than he is, and he manages to take me out. They have the airfield. They also have 2 other garrisons, so we are behind when it comes to capture points, and we're going to be behind on capture point gains. So as a result, I need to beat feet as fast as possible to get to the center and fight for my objective and try and play to my role to the best of my ability. At this point, I'm trying to put out of my mind the fact that I'm falling behind, and I'm just going to maintain control of what I can control, which is going to be the center portion of the map. That's going to be my best chance of getting a victory, hoping that my bots are going to be able to get the advantage needed in order to try and flip the zones. And we just lost another garrison. What a painful match to be in. And this is just the situation with the ground attackers being so powerful in this game when it comes to being only a 1v1 situation, and he is just going to absolutely decimate me. Now if I was in a heavy fighter, it might be a little bit of a table turn, because I can dive down, use my extremely powerful burst damage, and knock out that ground attacker, but I just don't have that option here, and I'm trying to avoid going down there if I can. So we see this FJ1 and we use our incredible speed to be able to boost in and intercept him. I see two more aircraft coming in and I decide to go after the lower health of the two once I get my wits about me. And there's enough damage output from these 450s to be able to take out that FJ1 right away, and the attacker is not that maneuverable of a platform. It's just very quick with some very strong guns and very good altitude performance. So, well, very good compared to some of the other Spitfires. This gives us a little bit of an advantage when it comes to a turning engagement, so we're going to get behind this attacker and gun him down. Even if he tried to run, I do have that incredible boost speed. Managed to take this facility. Now I'm going to do my best to hold this as long as humanly possible. We have the ability to respawn faster now because we have the airfield. So if all things are equal and I can kill as many of their aircraft as quickly as I possibly can, or at least help my allies kill these aircraft, we will respawn faster than they will and we'll maintain the numbers advantage, and that's the best I can offer my team at this point. So there's enough targets up at high altitude, why would I ever leave? So I find this heavy fighter, and the Goblin is great at intercepting heavy fighters. It just has the maneuverability and the boost speed to be able to keep up with them, and unless they decide that they're going to dive out of my arena, which means they're not going to be here and I can go after another target, then I can crush them with my 450 cal machine guns because they are the tier 10 variant of those guns. Here's the FJ1. He was going after my allies, so I'm taking advantage of my distracted enemy. But I do see that there's another aircraft coming in. That FJ1 is now being tailed by one of my allies, so he will keep him in a maneuvering fight with that other aircraft, which means that I can focus on the attacker. Now that we've taken out the attacker, we're going to focus on these other aircraft that are coming in now. I'm making sure that I'm not turning on the first target, because if I turn on the first target, that attacker would have been behind me and I would have been in trouble. So I am waiting to make my turns and paying very close attention to the minimap. You can see all of these arrows are heading in one direction, so I am taking advantage of that and I am doing a follow on the last aircraft. Now I see that there's another one down to my right, but he's low altitude, so I'm ignoring him. Now I'm going to isolate and lock up that target, and turns out he wasn't low. He was right next to me, but he was focusing on the bot, which allowed me to be able to take him out. Yes, we are still behind. We only have 2 capture zones, but we still have maintained the airfield. So at this point I'm thinking, alright, I'm not going to win, but I'll do my best to play to my role, do what I'm supposed to do, and try and maintain this area for as long as humanly possible. I see the player coming in here. I decide that I'm going to do a little bit of a gun on him, but I was afraid he was going to drop ammunition there, so I ignored him. Decided to head after the IL-40 over here, put a few rounds into him. Looks like we're getting really close. Okay, peel off. Okay, that was rough. There is another aircraft here. He is at altitude, but look at this boost and the ability to climb up and get to that FJ1 very rapidly. The FJ1 is target switching. It looks like he's coming after me. I do have the ability to boost around this turn relatively quickly. Let's see if we can get behind this guy. And even an FJ1, which is a very fast aircraft, is just not fast enough to outpace me. And I gotta take him out, or at least distract him from this 410. There we go. I managed to do kind of a corkscrew maneuver, which allowed the aircraft behind me to pass over me, or pass under me rather, which then I can now focus back on taking out that FJ1, finishing what I was going after, and now I'm going to isolate these 2 aircraft that are both heading in the same direction. The ideal thing would have been to go after the attacker first, but it looked like he was relatively distracted. A P-228 was sitting there. He was the tail aircraft, so that made a little bit of sense to me, but I probably could have went after the attacker as the more maneuverable and more dangerous threat first. Just something to note in hindsight. But now I'm starting to pay attention to the battle a little bit more, and I realize, whoa, we have 4 of the capture zones, and it's squall lines, so I am wrecking quite a few aircraft right now. So how are we doing for the advantage? There's another aircraft down. It looks like our players are taking that last garrison, so maybe I can get this if I can delay them long enough. Even if we don't get that other garrison, maybe I can kill enough of their aircraft to win the game just from elimination, right? So let's see what we can do against this MiG-9. The MiG-9 is a pretty nasty aircraft and relatively maneuverable. But, phew, air supremacy. Okay, that's a win, and Winged Legend. I'll take it. So this is looking way better now. We managed to maintain this facility. I see that there's the ground attacker over to the east. I start heading that direction, but the game's over. So, well, let's get to the post-game stats. Alright guys, that was insane. Okay, so that was a prime example of sticking to your guns, playing to your role, and doing your job to the best of your ability and having it pay off in the end. This is my first game of the day. This was my icebreaker. I hopped in my XF-85, figured I'd run a battle and get a few credits and get some of the ×2 off of my crew here. And as you can see, it paid off very, very well. This is the highest paying match I think I've had in this aircraft. Look at that, 570,000 credits. Thank you. More than happy to take that one. And apparently there was a mission here for some new paint scheme. I'll be interested to see what that ends up being. I probably should have checked to see what all these missions were. So we did pretty well. We got 36,000 experience points for our pilot, which is awesome. Which is great because I'm trying to get my 9th skill point on this F-94D pilot so that way I can make him a little bit more competitive. I would like to have Marksman 2 on him for that Gatling cannon because, whew, that would be mean. But we managed to kill 7 aircraft while defending, 13 in total, and then 6 assists, and then we did 220 for capture points over one of the capture zones through killing aircraft. We managed to get number 1 on the team, and we made 15,000 combat points, or personal points, give or take, which also gave us Winged Legend, and we managed to take out quite a few aircraft after the squall line. We had a little bit of a rough start as I was trying to get a handle on how those machine guns behave, because I haven't done it in a while, but man, it worked flawlessly, and we managed to do very well. The player on the other team, not a bad job either. He was doing his role. He was going after those ground targets, but unfortunately for him, being able to maintain that center capture zone and keeping the enemy kind of on the back foot by taking out bot after bot after bot, or at least chasing him out of the capture zone and keeping that center airfield for as long as we could, ended up paying off in this instance. So, you know, just bad luck for him, great luck for us, so I'm going to take the win, and I'm glad to have it. So as you can see here, just a quick review of what we've done with this airframe. I'm running lightweight airframe in order to maximize the maneuverability of what's generally a maneuverable fighter. Engine tuning to give it a little bit more power from the very short burst that this aircraft has, which is 6 seconds if I'm not mistaken. And the improved radio sight to get those guns to really hone in on the target. When it comes to pilot skills, not as important. A lot of these are going to play to aiding the pilot, or aiding this aircraft's abilities in the fight, with the exception of the expert rocketeer, because this is, like I said, my F-94D pilot. I'm just trying to get him some skill points so that way he can get his 9th skill, which is gonna be a little while. Even getting 36,000 experience for this pilot was still not nearly enough for what we eventually will need to acquire in order to maximize this 9th skill point. So all in all, great match, lots of credits earned, and I hope this highlights to you guys. Don't give up. Always keep your head on your shoulders, play to the best of your abilities, and sometimes the game will reward you for doing just that. And other times it won't, but, you know, just hold out for those good moments, and I think you'll enjoy the game and have a great battle. So, as always, like, favorite, comment, subscribe, and let me know in the comments what you liked and didn't like, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.